It looks like the A's are looking to add to their 2025 team payroll. Could this former World Series champion be a possible option for the team? Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your host, Booney. That's right, one name. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a diehard A's fan since 1981. I'm here to bring you a real fan's take, covering everything from Oakland to Sacramento to Las Vegas. This is the place for A's fans to get the latest game breakdowns, team news, and more. This is where the passion of the fans take center stage. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. We are still officially considered off-season, which means episodes will run 3 days a week. I don't know what days those will be. It depends on news that hit the wire on the A's. But yes, it's 3 days a week, and episodes should be up at 6 a.m. during the week. Starting the week of February 10, we will be back to 5 days a week, which happens to be exactly when pitchers and catchers report. Excited to be talking baseball again. Baseball is right around the corner. 39 days before pitchers and catchers report. For me, that is the holidays. That is Christmas. And with baseball so close, it also means the A's need to make some moves in the next 2 months. As I attempted to predict the A's 26-man opening day roster yesterday, I took a look at the roster, and there are still some spots that concern me. I'm going to address that a little bit later. The A's still need to hit a luxury tax payroll of at least $105 million to avoid issues with the MLB Players Association. Right now, they are approximately at $90 million. And looking at the A's roster, the move will most likely have to come from a trade in order to get to that $105 million magic number. Who is most expendable and who are the A's most willing to deal? We'll take a look at that in just a short while. First, will Jordan Montgomery be the A's next and potentially last move this offseason? I have spoken about Montgomery on several occasions on this show and have predicted that he will be an Athletic this season. We are starting to hear it from other news outlets as they are always a few weeks, maybe a month behind me. Let's dive into the possibilities of Jordan Montgomery going to Sacramento. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Today, we are diving into the A's offseason moves and a potential trade target who could solidify the rotation and help the team meet MLB's revenue sharing requirements. We're talking about Jordan Montgomery, the former World Series champion. and whether he could fit into the A's plans for 2025. The A's have been busy this offseason, but there's still work to do. Let's break it down, starting with why Montgomery might be on the move and how he fits the A's goals for 2025. So here's the situation with Montgomery. He's coming off a rough 2024 season, to say the least, with the Diamondbacks. He posted a 6.23 ERA over 117 innings. That's a big drop off from his previous 3 seasons when he was one of the most reliable starters in all of baseball. His struggles last year can be partially blamed on a late signing. He missed spring training because of his former agent's contract holdout strategy. And Scott Boras did that not only with Jordan Montgomery, but did it with Blake Snell as well. And if you remember, Blake Snell was having an awful 2024 up until the last 2 months of the season, 2.5 months of the season, where he absolutely just went ballistic, tore it up, was the best pitcher in all of baseball. By the time Montgomery joined the Diamondbacks, it was late March, and he never seemed to find his rhythm. And now, with the Diamondbacks signing Corbin Burnes to a huge free agent deal, they've got an overstuffed rotation. Montgomery is the odd man out, especially given the public criticism he faced from the team's ownership after the season. Let's not forget that Montgomery still has some upside. He's only 32, and his career outside of last season and a couple injury-shortened years, he's been a reliable mid-rotation guy with a career ERA of 4.03. Now, let's talk about why the A's should seriously consider adding Montgomery. First, there's the financial aspect that we've talked about on many occasions. The team needs to hit a luxury tax payroll of at least $105 million to avoid issues with the Major League Baseball Players Association. Right now, their payroll is sitting at around $90 million after the additions of Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, and Gio Urshela. Adding Montgomery's $22.5 million salary, especially if Arizona eats part of it, could be the perfect way to bridge that gap. Plus, the A's rotation is shaping up nicely, but could use another lefty arm. Montgomery could slide in as a dependable piece alongside Severino, Springs, J.P. Sears, Osvaldo Bido, maybe Mitch Spence. And let's not overlook the potential upside here. Montgomery's 2024 struggles might make him undervalued, but with a full offseason and spring training, he could bounce back to the form that helped him win a World Series with the Rangers in 2023. If the A's pull the trigger on this deal, they could enter 2025 with a rotation of Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, Jordan Montgomery, J.P. Sears, and either Osvaldo Bido, Joey Estes, maybe Mitch Spence. That is a formidable group in a division where pitching depth is going to be crucial. As we have talked about in the past, the AL West is shaping up to be very winnable, especially with the Angels and Mariners in transitional phases and the Rangers and Astros having questions of their own. Adding Montgomery could position the A's to surprise a lot of people. And let's not forget the intangible value of bringing in a veteran like Jordan Montgomery. His World Series experience and leadership could be invaluable for a young team. Montgomery might not be a flashy addition, but he checks a lot of boxes for the A's. He's a lefty starter with bounce back potential. He fits their financial goals, and he could help solidify the rotation for a team looking to make a statement in 2025. If the A's are serious about improving and meeting their payroll requirements, this is a move they should make. So, how could the A's structure a trade for Montgomery? The Diamondbacks seem motivated to move him, especially after signing Corbin Burns. They might even include a prospect to sweeten the deal if the A's take on most of Montgomery's salary. And if the A's want to save money, they could ask for Arizona to eat a portion of that salary. Who could the A's potentially deal in the next month or two? What A's are most expendable, and what do I think will happen? Up next. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Game Time. I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories was attending a concert last year. The energy and excitement were unforgettable. Now, Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for all your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets to an upcoming Golden State Warriors game using the Game Time app. With Game Time Picks, I found amazing deals and could even see the view from my seat before buying. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time! When looking at potential trade candidates for the A's, whether it is for a pitcher like Jordan Montgomery or any other player for that matter, we first must consider what the A's are not willing to trade. First and foremost, the A's will not deal prospects. Prospects are who the A's are and the identity of the franchise. Starting pitching. Well, this is something the A's are in need of, and we don't have a whole lot to deal. So highly unlikely they will deal any type of starting pitching. Bullpen. What flew under the radar last year was the A's bullpen. I want to say they were really close to being a top 5 bullpen in all of baseball when we're speaking about ERA. I want to say right around the top 5. Everybody in the bullpen is not on a guaranteed contract, with the exception of TJ McFarland. And his contract is small. I believe next year, $1.9 million on a 1-year deal. Like I said, the A's bullpen is very, very good. It's just not Mason Miller either. It's everybody in that pen. This leaves us active position players, and the only active position players that are a free agent next year or have a guaranteed contract, only 2 players fit that bill. Miguel Andujar, who is 31 and will be a unrestricted free agent next year. Seth Brown, who avoided arbitration for 2025 and signed a 1-year deal for $2.7 million, will have his last arbitration year next year before he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2027. Another thing to keep in mind about Seth Brown, he's 32 years old right now. When he does become that unrestricted free agent, It's going to be 34. Luis Medina and Ken Waldichuk will hit the 60-day IL, which will open up 2 more spots on the 40-man roster. One of those 2 spots will go for sure, without a doubt, to Colby Thomas, who plays left field, who led everything last year in the minor leagues. Big-time prospect. Right now, our outfielders are Lawrence Butler, J.J. Bleday, Brett Rooker, Estuary Ruiz, Miguel Andujar, Seth Brown, and Denzel Clark. Let's say 3 outfield positions and a DH for a total of 4 positions. Bleday, Rooker, and Butler are automatics, okay? Denzel Clark is one of the A's top prospects, so they're not moving him. Now we have 4, okay? So you have Seth Brown, Miguel Andujar, and Estuary Ruiz for 2 spots. Out of those 3 players, the best player, and it's not close, is Miguel Andujar. With that being said, he is also our least reliable player, as he has fought injuries over the last few years. Estuary Ruiz hits his first year of arbitration next season. We know what Esty did for us in 2023, but was hurt practically the whole year last year. Esty doesn't add much value on a potential trade because we don't really know what Esty is or how he is going to come back from injury in 2025. Also, he is under team control, and he's only 26 years old. The A's need to hold on to Esty. The guy that makes the most sense to deal is Seth Brown. Seth Brown is a solid left-handed bat and has some pop. He can play outfield and he can play first base. Average fielder, makes all the plays he is supposed to. A real good clubhouse guy and a good left-handed bat. He signed a 1-year deal for $2.7 million, avoiding arbitration. Including Seth Brown in a deal for Montgomery could make the most sense. That would open up playing time in the outfield for an A's outfield that is already very crowded. Estuary Ruiz would see more time. Potentially Colby Thomas, Denzel Clark. I think it's a great move for both teams. It's a win-win scenario. Arizona clears payroll and gets a useful lefty bat, while the A's add a potential bounce-back starter and move closer to their payroll targets. I can't imagine that the A's and D-backs aren't in talks already, and I can only imagine the delay is the D-backs are trying to get the most value out of Montgomery, which is difficult. Not only are they asking a team to pick up a huge $22 million contract, but right now the D-backs are hoping that they don't have to contribute to any of that salary, kind of what the Giants did for Ross Stripling last year. There is no question that Jordan Montgomery is being shopped. Where he goes is a bit of a question, but I believe the A's are the best fit right now for Montgomery and for the Arizona Diamondbacks. While starting pitching was a huge concern for the A's going into the offseason, they've answered a lot of those questions with the signing of Severino, the signing of Jeffrey Springs. And as I examine what the 2025 A's roster looks like, I still have one big concern that I will address up next. This episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. Final four for college football playoffs are set. Notre Dame and Penn State on Thursday evening. Ohio State and Texas on Friday evening. Looking at the betting lines, I like Notre Dame giving up 2, and I like Ohio State and Texas to go over the total of 53. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. As I attempt to predict the A's 2025 opening day 26-man roster on yesterday's show, there's still one thing that is glaring about the A's roster that is a concern. It was a concern last year. It's a concern this year. And I'm not sure if we've gotten much better in the infield. We have Tyler Soderstrom at first base, who is up and down. He got hurt at the beginning of July, which sidelined him all the way until September. He came back. He showed flashes of who he could possibly be. But he's young, man. He is really, really young. And he is a well below average defensive first baseman. Second base, Zach Geloff. He's going to be a key. He had an awful 2024. Led the American League in strikeouts. Hit 17 home runs. I believe his batting average was 193. Defensively, he's good. But Zach Geloff cannot struggle at the plate the way he did if the A's are going to make a run for an AL West championship. It can't happen. Shortstop, Jacob Wilson. When Jacob Wilson first came up, he got hurt in the very first game he played. He started the year with a base hit, scored a run, then pulled his hamstring. That was in mid-July, I believe. We didn't see him again until September. When he came back, he was okay with the bat. Again, very young, extremely young. He tore it up last year in the minors at every level he was at. I don't have a lot of worries about Jacob Wilson. You always have to be concerned when you're putting so much weight on a young individual like Wilson at shortstop, who is touted to be their everyday guy. Third base, Gio Urshela. An above average fielder. Hitting, we don't know. We don't know what he's going to bring to the plate hitting-wise. So I'm concerned, as always, with regard to third base. Other infielders that we have in the mix is Brett Harris. I've talked about Brett Harris glowingly in the past. In my opinion, our best defensive player in the whole organization. Reminds me a little bit of a Matt Chapman. Can he hit? He has to hit. He has to be able to be better than the 170 he hit last year. He has to show some pop. I'm rooting for Brett Harris. He has a big upside to him. When that's going to happen, I don't know. CJ Alexander, third baseman, big left-handed hitter, good pop. He is another potential infielder that we could plug in there. Shea Langoliers, obviously, is going to be our everyday catcher. Silver Slugger Award. I expect a huge year out of Langoliers. My concern with the A's infield is that everything is in question. There is nothing that we can count on. Soderstrom and Wilson are young. Geloff had the worst year of his career, and Urshela's best years were a few years back. We don't have much to back them up either. So, yeah. And the potential lineup that I had with our infield was Soderstrom 5th, Geloff batting 8th, Urshela batting 7th, and Wilson batting 9th. So all the infielders hitting wise are all at the bottom of the order. So I am extremely concerned about an infielder. I would not mind signing somebody who's still a free agent in like a Paul DeYoung. We do need another infielder. I'm just not comfortable with who we have right now. We will definitely see what happens. The A's offseason has been positive, to say the least. They're making moves they've never made before. So there's an incredible improvement to the team. There is an incredible type of excitement with regard to the A's this season. We'll see how it all unfolds. Still, plenty of offseason remaining. One thing is for sure, the A's are going to contend this year. The A's are going to win this year. The A's are going to surprise a lot of teams this year. Not this guy. Not this guy. I've called this for a while. Guaranteeing the A's win the AL West. Guaranteeing they win a playoff series. And who knows? We'll see what happens. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings a daily blend of humor and baseball, keeping you updated on every rumor and story throughout the offseason. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow.